everybody, my name is Mars, you can call me MG if you would like. Today we are doing the prep work for the second series slasher vlog, my February edition. If you don't know what series slasher is, it is a game that I have created to kind of just motivate myself to continue and finish more series instead of starting a million new ones, because at the start of 2026, I was in the middle of over 60 series, and that's not how I want to be living my life, honestly. So I did play this once before in January. It didn't quite go as I had hoped it would, but it was still a good attempt at getting series finished, and I did get some series finished, just not quite in the way I thought that I would. But we are back for a second round. Hopefully this is going to be a little bit more joyful, a little bit easier for me to get through and not as frustrating, because January's was kind of a doozy. But basically I will be pulling cards, and by pulling cards I mean I will be spinning wheels because I have not yet gotten the cards printed, but we will spin for one killer that will determine our parameter of the books that I will be reading. Then we will get 3 heroes, and those will be the actual prompts for the books. They will have to fit the prompt and the overall parameter. Then I will get a location, which is a challenge. It is optional, but if I do complete it, I get a little bit of a bonus, and the locations are related specifically to reading in this vlog. And then the weapons are similar in that they are optional challenges, and they are bookish, but not specifically related to reading. So, without further ado, let's just get to spinning these wheels and finding out what my prompts and challenges are. Okay, friends, so as you saw, I spun for our killer, the Alien Invader, which means I get to read sci-fi books this month. All of these series that I will be continuing on in are going to be sci-fi in some way. Then I spun my 3 heroes, the first of which was the Flirt, which I actually got in January. So this character is making a comeback. They get a little bit of a sequel moment, but this is to read a book with a character who is book boyfriend or book girlfriend material, and I actually have the perfect one in mind. Very excited for that. Then for the artist, it is to read a book where the cover is spun randomly on a wheel, and I will insert that wheel spinning right now. So as you can see, I got Indigo, so I will have to find a sci-fi book that is like the next book in the series that I'm reading with an indigo cover. I might have a little bit of a challenge with that one, although the book that I'm thinking of reading for the Flirt, I'm pretty sure has some indigo spots on it, so that's kind of funny. We'll see what I end up doing with that. And then the last one that I have for my heroes taking on this alien invader is the tag-along younger sibling, and this is to read a book that was published 5 or more years after the first installment of the series. So that's going to be fun to try and find. That'll probably be a longer series, because that is, like, I feel like at least nowadays series tend to be like one after another with release dates. So if it's a longer series, then if I'm further along in it, they're going to be published way after the first one. I don't know why I'm over-explaining that, but that is my thought process with that. Then for our location. We are fighting this alien in the dreamscape, which is quite interesting, but the challenge for this is to have a cozy, self-indulgent reading night during the course of my reading for this vlog. So that will be super fun. I love that. And the alien invader is attacking our heroes with a hammer for some reason. But the challenge for this is to do a bookish craft, and that also sounds super fun. So I'm very much looking forward to this. Of course, it's not February for a couple of more weeks, so I have some time to plan out this vlog a little bit better. That's kind of why I wanted to start filming it early. So I have got some thinking to do, some books to pick out, and I will see you when February hits and I can start reading for this vlog. Okay, friends, it is January 31st, which is essentially February 1st, and besides, time is fake, and none of this has any consequences. So, I'm gonna start reading my first book for this vlog, and I'm so excited. So I'm going to read my flirt book first, my book for the flirt card, and this book is Barbarian's Taming by Ruby Dixon. Y'all, if you guys have been around for the last year, 2 years? I actually don't remember when I started the Ice Planet Barbarian series. It might be 2 years ago now. That's crazy to think about. But I am kind of obsessed with Ice Planet Barbarians. I love these books. They're always a great fun time, a little bit silly. I loved the most recent book that I read, which was Barbarian's Touch, and this is the follow-up to that. They're kind of like a pair. The two books go together because the female characters, the female love interests in these are sisters. So the last book I read was Lila and Rokon. This book is Maddie and Hassan. I really feel like this is a dynamic that could work so well for me. So I am just very excited to pick it up. It is quite short, being an Ice Planet Barbarians book, and actually I realized right before I started filming this clip that all of the books that I picked for this vlog are quite short, so this will probably be only a few days long and not very intensive, but we'll just have to see how things play out now that I've said that I've probably jinxed myself, but whatever. So yes, I'm going to start reading Barbarian's Taming, and hopefully it calms me down because I've had kind of a stressful day and I really just need to chill right now. So that's what I'm going to get into. I might make myself some dinner to eat while I read. I do have this digitally, so it's just going to be a nice, fun evening for me full of some silly alien romance. So I cannot wait to get started. Hello friends, as you can see, Gremlin is all up in my business because it is currently 11:45 and Chloe has just entered the room as well. The babies are ready for bed, and honestly, so am I, because I am so tired. Looking at the screen to read this book has been not great for my eyesight, honestly. My eyes are a little bit tired, but I did want to read, so I did, and I'm about a third of the way into this book, and the dynamic really is working for me like I said I thought it would. Yes, ma'am? We will be going to bed shortly. I just want to update my vlog, okay? Is that alright with you? Yeah, I am digging it so far, and I'm very excited to read the rest of the book, which I'll probably do tomorrow. I don't have very much going on. I do have D&D, but that's only going to be a couple of hours, and I don't have any other commitments for tomorrow, so I will read the rest of this book, and I guess update you when I finish it, and then we can move on to the next book, which is also very exciting. I'm just so excited for all of the books in this vlog, so having a great time so far, and I will see you tomorrow, I guess. Okay, friends, I am back. It is 5:30 on Sunday, and I've had quite the day. D&D was so fun. We did go a little bit long, though, and it gave me a headache, and my head still kind of hurts, but it's fine. I then went grocery shopping, and that also did not help my health and pains, so I've just been chilling. But I did, in fact, finish Barbarian's Taming, and this was so good, you guys. It definitely wasn't my favorite in the series, but it was still so good, and I loved Maddie and Hassan together. Also, though, the, midpoint twist was so shocking and stressful. It doesn't have to do with the relationship, it has to do with more world building and setting up for like future things that are happening. And like, oh my god, it was so stressful to be reading, and I'm very excited to see how this affects things. I already have an idea of how it's going to affect things, but I'm excited to see that all play out. I cannot wait to read the next few books. I know who they are, like the couples in them. The next book is Stacy and Pashov, which is going to be so good because they are like an already mated couple. They've been mated to each other pretty much since the humans landed on this icy planet. And so like they've had this whole relationship. They've got a kid already. Stacy's pregnant with their second one, I believe. But then, because of things happening, Pashav loses his memory. He does not remember Stacy at all. He doesn't remember their baby. None of it. And that is going to be so good to read. I love angst so much. And speaking of angst, the book after this one, the two books from what I just read, is Asha and Himalo. And I'm also excited for this one because it's the first time we have a non-human female main character. Both of the members of that couple are Sakui, the aliens, but I'm also excited because of the angst and the grief we're going to get, because Asha and Himalo were also mated at one point, but is this a spoiler? I think it's on the back of the book. They end up losing their child, and that kind of like breaks them apart. And so it's like a second chance romance between the two of them, and it's going to be so good. I am very excited to read the next two books in this series, but unfortunately, not what I will be reading for this vlog. What I will be reading is my pick for the tag-along younger sibling prompt, which is a book that was published 5 or more years after the first installment of the series. And technically, if we're going by English release dates, these books, it's like a duology, they were published in back-to-back years. I think it was like 2021 and 2022, or 2022 and 2023. But they were originally published in Japanese, and the Japanese publication dates, the first book came out in like 2005, and the second one came out in 2020. So definitely 5+ years between them. So that's what I'm going off of. And the book that I'll be reading is The Tatami Time Machine Blues, which is a sequel to The Tatami Galaxy, which I also picked up for a reason that I will get to in a little bit. But first of all, look at the size difference between these books. This is like twice as thick, but whatever. This book is alternate universes. It follows the same main character. He's just known as like Senpai or whatever. He doesn't have an actual name. And basically he feels like he's wasted, let me put these down, he feels like he's wasted his college years, so he's like, oh, things would have been so much more different for me if I had like chosen a different extracurricular activity. So we follow him through, like, had he made a different choice at the beginning of his college career, and how his life would have been the same, and how it would have been different, and how those different alternate universes like intersect. And then the last section is just so weird and so crazy, and I love it. I was not a big fan of the anime adaptation. The anime adaptation added many, many more layers of alternate universes, and it just felt like way too many. But the book was in, I think it was in my top 10 favorite books of 2024, I think, is when I read it. But the Tatami Time Machine Blues is a little bit different. It follows the same characters. We have the protagonist is all he's known as, and we have Akashi, who is the girl on the cover of both of these books, who the protagonist has a crush on, and also Ozu, and a bunch of other characters from the first book. The air conditioning in their terrible apartment breaks, and then because of that, they somehow end up discovering a time machine. I don't know. I am very excited to pick it up though, and I will be doing that later on this evening before bed, but I will not be picking it up just yet. I think the plans right now are I'm going to go shower, and then I'm going to eat dinner, and then I'm going to do my journal spread for Barbarian's Taming, because I do a spread in my reading journal for every book that I read, and I have to do that for Barbarian's Taming. And then after that, I want to do my bookish craft, and my bookish craft is inspired by these books. So I'm gonna hold them up again, actually, just because I want you to see these covers and how crazy and fun and intricate they are. I have recently discovered an interest in collaging. I went to this collage craft night at a local cafe with a friend where like the focus was on like making vision boards, and I had a really great time. So I think I want to do a collage inspired by the covers of these books, and I might make it into like a bookmark. I think that would be a whole lot of fun. So I'm going to be doing that tonight while I maybe watch Critical Role or some other YouTube. I've actually got a lot of YouTube to catch up on, but I will pop that on while I do my little bookish craft, and I might finish it tonight, I might not. I don't really know. I don't have a big plan in mind. I just know that like I'm gonna use a cardstock base. I've got some origami paper with some fun patterns that I think would like match the vibes, and a whole ton of stickers. So that is the plan. I am going to get on with enacting said plan, and I will see you at some point in the future with an update on my craft or my reading or something. I really don't know. Okay, friends, it is now 8:30, and I have done all the things that I said I was going to do, and I have finished my bookmark. So, first, let me show you the inspiration again, being these two covers. Now, what I ended up with is similar, but not quite the same. For starters, I do want to say that I wish the stickers I had were more solid. They are quite transparent, so you can really see the patterned paper behind them, but that's fine. It's not that big a deal. But this is what I ended up with. Let me get closer to show you. You can really see how like the patterns are showing through, and that sucks, but it's fine. I really like how the patterns turned out in the background. I think that's one of my favorite parts. But I went with this girl because A, she was one of the few large people stickers that I had, and that is like a very prominent aspect of the covers. And B, I like how she's kind of coming through the envelope here. I think that's really fun. But then we've got like these butterflies. The first book, moths are a very big part of it, and I actually even think, yeah, down here in this bottom corner you can see a bunch of moths, so that's where that inspiration came from. I also really like having like some things upside down. I feel like that is pretty cool. I've got this really old camera, which is like on the cover of both books. Akashi is holding a camcorder, and then I just have some other really fun things that I thought were cute. These little gingerbread men I have specifically because of, you can see on here, the tiny little bears. Those are Mochigumon, I think is what they're called. Are they on this cover too? Yeah, you can see kind of spilling out of her bag. And I wanted these elements to like come off of the backgrounds to like kind of have that chaoticness to it. I do think this would read more as a bookmark if I were to hole punch it and put like a ribbon or something in the top. So I probably will do that at some point. I just don't have any ribbon right now. But yeah, overall, this was very fun, and I think this turned out quite cute. I am definitely happy with it. So now I I'm quite tired. My head is starting to hurt again. So I think I am going to clean up my desk, then have some more pain medication because I believe it's been about 6 hours since I've taken it, so I can take more. And then I'm going to get in bed and I'm going to start reading the Tatami Time Machine Blues. So, yeah. Oh, there's more of the little Mochi Gumon on the back. They're so cute. I love them a lot. Yeah, those are my plans for the rest of the night. I do have work tomorrow, but not until 12:30, so I will have plenty of time to read tomorrow as well, and then I'm off on Tuesday, so kind of great timing here. But yeah, I will see you tomorrow at some point with an update on my reading. Okay, wait, coming back here to say, right before I go to bed, that this has fulfilled my weapon prompt, and the benefit of fulfilling that prompt, that little challenge, is that I have now dealt a wound to the alien invader. So now I only need 2 more wounds to permanently defeat this killer. So that is great. Now I'll be going to bed. Good night, friends. Hello friends, it is 9:15 a.m. on Tuesday and I'm here with an update on the Tatami Time Machine Blues. I am done with part 1 of 3, so I'm about 45% of the way through, I would estimate. Not quite halfway, but almost. So part 1 is August 12th, and then part 2 is August 11th, and then part 3 says August 12th again. Also, I'm sorry about all the cars going by. I don't know why my road is so busy right now, but I'm just gonna ignore it, and I hope you can too. Yeah, this part, we are reintroduced to our cast of characters. This isn't really a sequel in that it follows up on things that have happened in the past, because we don't really acknowledge all of the stuff that happened in the first book, but it is the same cast of characters. It's still the same, style and vibe, and I'm really enjoying that aspect of it. Something that I have not mentioned yet is that I don't really enjoy time travel as a concept. It's just not my forte, not really big into it. Of course, there are some exceptions, like Kindred by Octavia E. Butler. Love that book. That does have a time travel element to it. I really enjoyed Doctor Who when I was in high school. It had a time travel element. I mean, not even a time travel element, the whole thing was time travel. Anyway, it's not something that I completely and utterly despise. It's just not something I particularly enjoy very much. So I am, I do like the first book more than this one so far, because I think the alternate universes thing is a little bit more my speed than the time travel thing, but it's fine. It's still very enjoyable so far. In this part, we get the rundown of everything that happened on the 11th and the 12th that kind of led to them discovering this time machine, and some people have actually used the time machine. There's this guy who says that he came from the future, and that's how the time machine got there. Now all of our characters are going to travel back in time to the day before, and shenanigans are going to ensue, I presume. So I am excited to continue on with this and keep reading. I hopefully will be finishing it today. There are just about 100 pages left, so I can probably very easily do that, except I do have a lot of things on my to-do list, so that is the plan. And then tonight, whether it is with this book or the third book for this vlog, that's the word I'm looking for, the third reading prompt, I will be doing my cozy reading night, which is the challenge for the location card that I pulled, the Dreamscape, so I'm very much looking forward to that. But yeah, for now though, I am going to settle into my day, get some work done, and then hopefully do more reading, and I will talk to you later. friends. It is now just before 2 p.m. and I have finished the Tatami Time Machine Blues, and I really enjoyed this. The first section, as I said, I was enjoying, but I wasn't loving. By the end of it, the second and third sections, I was loving it. I think I'm gonna give this an S rank, S tier. I'm still undecided if I'm calling my new book rating system ranks or tiers, but I guess that doesn't really matter. But for some context, this book is kind of a reimagining of sorts of a play that exists called The Summertime Machine Blues, and it is essentially that story but with this person's characters. And the playwright, Makoto Ueda, actually wrote a little afterword in this, and then in the very back, there's a note from the translator, who is Emily Balistrieri, and they are actually the same translator as the first book, The Tatami Galaxy, and I think they might also have translated The Night is Short, Walk On Girl, which I do really want to read. I have seen the movie for that one, but I would love to read that book because the movie was so crazy and fun. But in that, a note from the translator, they compared this book and the play that it's based on to like The Christmas Carol and A Muppet's Christmas Carol, and I think that is a phenomenal like kind of comparison. I think that's so funny and very accurate. But yeah, I really enjoyed this. I had a great time with it, and I'm so happy to have read this. But that means I only have one left for this vlog, one more book to read, and I will be reading it later on during my cozy, self-indulgent reading night, whatever I was calling it. I don't even know the words anymore. But the last prompt that I got was The Artist, and the prompt for that is to spin a color wheel and find a book with that color on the cover. And I will warn you now, I am a little bit colorblind, so if you don't think that the book has the color on it, that's fine. I think it does, but I think I put it at the beginning of this video. I don't know, I filmed that so long ago. But my color wheel gave me indigo, and the book that I have chosen is the 13th book in the Animorphs series. It's called The Change, I think. I don't know, there's so many books in that series. I'm pretty sure that's the one that I'm up to. I know it's number 13. It comes after The Reaction, which I was not a huge fan of. I thought that one was kind of just ridiculous, but yeah, kind of a ridiculous series, but also very horrifying and gross and a whole thing. I am enjoying my very slow read through of this series, though I feel like I'm going to end up reading it until I'm like 50 years old at this point with the rate that I'm going, but that's fine. I am excited to pick this up, and I will be doing that later on, and I usually get through these Animorph books in Animorph singular? That feels weird. Animorphs books in about an hour, so I will definitely be finishing that today, and then I will come back and update you. Oh, one other thing is that this is completing a series, because there's only 2 books in it, although I would love a million more with these characters just going through different, like, types of sci-fi shenanigans. Like, we had alternate universes, we've had time travel, which there are a lot of references to the first book in the second half of this one, but it's in a, like, dream way. Our protagonist, talks a lot about, like, this dream that he had that is a part of the first book. So that was really interesting. But yeah, that means I have dealt a second wound to the alien invader, which means I only need 1 more to go. And that is the cozy reading night. That will be the 3rd wound, because if I complete the location prompt, that deals a wound to the killer, and I only need 1 more, so I'll have defeated the killer in 1 vlog. Crazy. This is kind of how I was wanting the first vlog to go, but if you saw that one, it did not go that way. But yeah, this has just been a phenomenal few days of reading, so I could not have asked for more. But yeah, I will do my cozy reading night, reading the next Animorphs book later on in the day, and I will see you after that to close out this vlog. Alrighty, friends. It is now 8:30 p.m. As you saw, I had my cozy little reading night. I sat out in the living room where we had the fairy lights on, and my cat was with me. I don't think you saw her, but she was a little bit behind me hanging out, and I had a nice cup of tea. It was so nice. So that was the third wound dealt to the alien invader, and they are defeated. Killing it. This is an infinitely better vlog than my last one. But I also finished reading my book, The Change by K.A. Applegate, book 13 in the Animorphs series, and this was a good one. It was definitely a lot better than The Reaction. I don't know why, I just really did not like that book. But this one is a big turning point. This was a Tobias POV, which was great. I think he might be my favorite POV character, but I also really like Cassie, and Rachel is also good. There's not a POV character that I don't like, but Tobias is probably like my favorite one to read from, and some big things happened with him in this book. I can't really tell you because we're 13 books in, and even though that is only a fraction of the big total, I think there's like 54 books. I don't want to spoil things that have happened in these first 13 books. I think they're super fun, and I can't wait to keep reading them. But yeah, this was a great weekend plus a few days of reading. I am very happy with the series that I continued and finished in one case, and it was just very lovely. So thank you for being here with me. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a big thumbs up. You can subscribe to my channel for more content, and that way I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye everyone.